Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Agyantimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashadadesha Tarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gauri Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai Gauri Bhaktivinoda ki jai.
Hi, Srimad Bhagavatam, our medicine for this Bhava Roga, for this material disease. Thank you very much. So we paused at Dhruva being approached by the Vishnu Dutas, asking him to jump on the chariot to fly off. Not a chariot, it's actually an airplane. Wow, this is fantastic, right? Even great sages had failed to achieve what Dhruva has achieved. And that too, he had approached the Lord with material desire. And even to get the glimpse of the Supreme aboard the sun, moon, and all other planets circumambulated continuously. So Lord Vishnu invites you to come there. What a great fortune. They say, don't act in a way that you can see Krishna. Act in ways that Krishna can see you. And this is a good example of Dhruva Maharaj. He has behaved, his achar and prachar, his behavior has been in a way that Krishna can notice him. Who would like to read from here? Dear Dhruva, you wanted to attain a kingdom.
I will do. Dear Dhruva, you wanted to attain a kingdom greater than any of your forefathers. You should know that none of them have been to Vishnu's abode. Your goal is achieved, for we are taking you to Vishnu's own planet where he personally resides. It is the highest realm of all and is worshipped by the inhabitants of all other planets in the universe. Please come with us and live there eternally. You have attained immortality. Thus, you may board this excellent plane, which has been sent by the chief being, the supreme person, who is glorified by select prayers. Dhruva was always alert to perform his devotional duties. Therefore, on hearing Nanda and Sunanda's sweet words, he first bathed in the sacred Saraswati river and marked his body with tilak. Then he finished his daily worship of Vishnu. Finally, he went to the sage who lived in the region. He made his obeisances to them and begged for their blessings. On returning to the plain, he first accumulated it, then bowed to Nanda and Sunanda. As he was so engaged, his body became illuminated and brilliant, like molten gold. He then prepared to board the aircraft. At that moment, death personified approached him and bowed before him. Unafraid of death, Dhruva took advantage of his presence by stepping on his head to board the magnificent aircraft. He heard drums resounding in the sky. All the gods had gathered and were showering him with flowers, petals. And the chief of the Gandharvas began to sing his glories. As he was departing, Dhruva remembered his mother. How could he go alone to Vaikuntha and leave her behind? Understanding his mind, Nanda and Sunanda showed him that his mother was traveling in a similar aircraft just in front of him. because your mother played an important role in your spiritual success by instructing you to take shelter of Vishnu. She too is going to his abode, flying through outer.
Okay, let's pause. Prabhupada said that just like Dhruva Maharaj's mother was a cause of Dhruva Maharaj's spiritual progress, he said, I hope that one of my disciples will also be a cause for my spiritual advancement. That was so sweet of Srila Prabhupada to take that humble position to say something like that. Okay.
Space. Dhruva saw all the planets in the universe. As he passed the gods' abodes, they came out in their airplane to honor him by showering him with flowers. He passed the highest planetary system where the great sages reside. Finally, he arrived at Lord Vishnu's eternal transcendental realm. This spiritual planet is the source of the sun illumination. By dear Vidura, it can only be reached by people who constantly engage in welfare activities for the good of others. Listen to the qualities one must cultivate to go to Vaikuntha. One must first be peaceful. This is the only possible for those. This is only possible for those who have no demand for personal sense gratification, neither those desiring material enjoyment. Liberation from birth and death, nor mystic powers can be peaceful. Only those
Exclusively, sorry.
exclusively dedicated to serving Vishnu, who are surrendered to his will and who depend on his mercy, can achieve peace. One must be equipoised, seeing everyone on the same transcendental platform. Such a person does not discriminate between living beings based on their material bodies or status. He sees everyone as a part and parcel of Supreme Lord. These qualities are cultivated by hearing from liberated devotees. He must be pure, or in other words, not tinged by the influence of the modes of nature like lust, greed, anger, or illusion. This is achieved only by constantly chanting the Krishna's holy name. Furthermore, one must please all living beings by engaging them in Krishna's loving service. Finally, one must only form intimate friendship.
Thank you, Mataji. Somebody else likes to continue?
With the Lord's devotees.
Mataji, I can read.
Mm-hmm.
Because Dhruva cultivated these qualities, he was able to attain the topmost planet. Anyone who follows in his footsteps can similarly go there. Vidura said, please tell me more about his planet. Maitreya said, Dhruva went to the pole star, which was subsequently named after him as Dhruva Loka. As a herd of bulls walk around a pole to which they are tethered, so do all the planets in the universe incessantly circle Dhruvaloka, such as the glories of Krishna's devotee, who by the Lord's grace exceeds everyone in greatness. Wonderful! Exclaimed Vidura. Dhruva achieved incomparable prominence. Maitreya said, yes, so much so that when says Narada saw his destination, he traveled to the Praseta's sacrificial arena and joyously sang 3 verses while playing on his veena. Why was Narada so happy? Asked Vidura. He is Dhruva's spiritual master. Just as a father becomes joyful to see his child advancement in every respect, so the spiritual master is happy to observe the ascendancy of his disciple. Vidura asked Maitreya to recite the 3 verses Narada composed. Narada sang Dhruva's praises as follows. Not even by strictly following Vedic principles can one attain the same level of spiritual advancement as Dhruva. Thus says Suniti's son, became so advanced in austerity that he was able to achieve the most exalted position. At only 5 years old, Dhruva went to the forest after being offended by his stepmother's harsh words. Here I instructed him in devotional service. Because he certainly heard, assimilated, and applied my instructions, he gradually attained transcendental love for Narayana. Thus he conquered the otherwise unconquerable Lord. He attained perfection after practicing austerities for only 6 months. Not even great kings have been able to do this after performing penance for many years. Vidura said, other kings have achieved the same perfection. Consider King Bharata. Maitreya reminded him that Bharata had taken 3 lives to achieve success, whereas by his serious determination Dhruva had taken only 6 months. Maitreya said, my dear Vidura, I have answered in detail all your questions about Dhruva's great reputation and character. Even exalted saintly people like to hear about him. Simply by hearing this narration, one can fulfill desires for wealth, reputation, and longevity. It is so auspicious that by hearing it, one can attain the heavenly planets or even Jubaloka itself. Even the gods like to hear this history. It is so powerful that it can counteract all one's sinful actions. One of Krishna's names is Achyuta, or infallible, and hearing about him awards one whatever he desires. Since Dhruva is very dear to Achyuta, by repeatedly hearing about him, one gets the same result. It also helps one become a great devotee and frees him from all misery. Know for certain that all ambitions can be fulfilled by understanding Dhruva's glories. Anyone can achieve his exalted devotional qualities. Those who want power or to be widely recognized as intelligent can achieve these aims by hearing about Dhruva. Vidura was incredulous. Just by hearing about him, all these goals can be achieved? Maitreya said, surely, but it must be done with great care and attention both morning and evening in the company of qualified faithful devotees. Then it will certainly bear fruit. You mean we must hear it from a devotee? Yes, the person reciting Dhruva's pastime must be surrendered to Krishna. Vidura said, how can we recognize such persons? Maitreya replied, they will not accept renunciation for their recitation.
Veneration.
Sorry, remuneration for their recitation. When narration is performed without any professional motive, both the reciter and audience become perfect. Is this the only criterion? Maitreya said, the audience must also have faith in such recitations and be eager to hear. Apathetic, challenging, or skeptical hearing will not bestow the same benefit. The recitation will also be more effective if it occurs on a full or dark moon day, on an Ekadasi, on the appearance of the Shravana star at the end of a particular tithi, on Vyatipata at the end of the month, or on Sundays. What is the meaning of Vyatipata?
Let's see.
Uh, should I continue or should I stop?
17th, it's a yoga. Okay. Basically, the conclusion of this is every day.
Okay.
Every day we should recite Srimad Bhagavatam, Dhruva Maharaj. You know, there is certain stories, each has a specific benefit. For example, reciting Gajendra Moksha, we attain certain kind of perfection, and Dhruva, certain kind. So Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Yeah, basically, if you do Bhagavatam Nityam, then like all the
Yeah.
auspiciousness will come, right?
Yeah.
One after one.
Somehow or another we can.
Yes.
I mean, if we have a specific request or specific goal, then every day individually also we can listen or chant some specific prayers. Like I know some devotee who's recite Gajendra prayers every day, like that. So if somebody's trying to be professionally successful or something, they can study Dhruva Maharaj every day, like that. Okay, any questions or comments so far?
Mataji, Gajendra prayer is in that bhajan, He Govinda, He Gopal, He Govinda Rakho Sharan.
No, not that one. Srimad Bhagavatam, Gajendra Moksha prayers. Let me show you. The prayers that...
No. I'm just asking. But that bhajan is including na graho ko mare, Gajaraja ko udare. The stanza is about this pastime, Gajendra Moksha.
What's the question? Sorry.
In that bhajan also, this pastime is there.
Yeah.
Pastime is there.
Yeah. So these prayers, I'm talking about these prayers here. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasasmai.
Your skin is not your screen is
Oh. Thank you. I forgot. This is the 8th canto, 3rd chapter, text 2. This we will study. 7th canto will finish the topic narcissism, and 8th canto will start the topic of attachment and dependency and addiction. Like Gajendra is a good example of somebody addicted, like crocodile represents that addiction. So these prayers that begin from here, very, very beautiful, very powerful, these prayers are. Okay, so any other question? Nitya Kishori Mataji, would you like to read a little bit?
Hare Krishna Mataji, I'm sorry, a little busy, but
No problem.
I'm listening.
No problem. Okay, I can read a little bit. This history of Dhruva bestows true immortality, which means understanding the real nature of the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, and one's relationship with him. Those who become merciful protectors of others by giving them this transcendental knowledge attain God's blessings and find all life's obstacles removed. Rajeshwari Radhika Mataji, this is for your quoting for your topic. Those who will become merciful protectors of others by giving them transcendental knowledge. Dhruva's transcendental activities are famous throughout the world. They are purely spiritual. Rejecting his playthings, he left his mother's protection and surrendered completely to Lord Vishnu. My dear Vidura, I have described all this in detail and will conclude here. Please do not stop. Tell me more about Dhruva's descendants. Maitreya smiled. My dear Vidura, it is noon now, and you have not eaten anything since yesterday morning. Let us bathe, say our midday prayers, and then you must have some refreshment. Afterwards, I will surely tell you more. Hi, Krishna Taruni Radha. I see that you've joined.
Hi, all, Hare Krishna.
Where are you?
I'm in Melkote. No, Srirangpatna. We went to Melkote. And from Srirangpatna, we are going to Belur and Belawadi.
Jai, awesome. Are you able to read a little bit?
Yes. Okay. We're at chapter 13.
13.
Okay, here we go. Dhruva's descendants. Maitreya names Dhruva's descendants and describes how one of them, King Anga, had a wicked son named Vena. Vena? Yeah, Vena. Maitreya and Vidura walked over to the shade of a banyan tree. Occasionally, monkeys overhead chattered, or birds flittered from branch to branch. They passed a large turtle basking on a rock by the lake. After they were seated, Vidura said, I feel so enriched by hearing about Dhruva. He is such an precious personality. I'm curious to know more about the Prachetas whom you mentioned earlier. Matthew said, what would you like to know? Who were they? In which dynasty were they born? Were you there? Who were their parents? I would also like to know where they performed their great sacrifice. I know that the great sage Narada is the greatest of all devotees. He has compiled the Pancharatrika procedure for serving the Lord. He has even met Lord Narayana in person. My curiosity about the Prachetas is aroused because you said Narada went to their sacrifice and glorified Dhruva. My dear Brahmin, I would like to know if Narada described any of Vishnu's transcendental pastimes while he was there. If so, please tell me in detail everything he said. Matthew said, the Prachetas appear in Dhruva's dynasty. When Dhruva departed for the forest, his son Utkala was reluctant to become the next emperor of the earth. From his birth, he was a self-satisfied soul, unattached to worldly pleasures or possessions. He could see how everything in the world is pervaded by and rests on the super soul. He became liberated from all material contact and fully self-realized. Understanding his eternal identity as a Lord's servant, he wanted nothing more than to serve him, to avoid the company of materialistic people who pretended to be blind, deaf, and mad. He was actually an advanced soul, but he covered his glories like a fire covered by ashes. Thus, foolish people considered him to be ignorant. The family elders, along with the ministers, thinking him mad, enthroned his younger brother, Vatsara, who was the son of Dhruva's first wife, Brahmini. Matsya gave the names of Vatsara's descendants. After some generations, there was a king named Anga, whose son Vena was greatly sinful. Maitreya explained. Maitra gave the names of Vatsara's descendants. After some generations, there was a king named Anga, whose son Vena was greatly sinful. Maitra explained that King Anga, dismayed by Vena's bad character, left his home and kingdom and retired to the forest. The great sages killed Vena with a curse as powerful as a thunderbolt. In the absence of a monarch, the kingdom was overrun by thieves and plunderers, and the citizens suffered terribly. The sages manifested the next king, Prithu, the original monarch and a partial incarnation of Vishnu, by mystically churning Vena's dead body. Vidura said, my dear Brahmin, King Anga was very sensitive, of high character, and a lover of spiritual culture. How did such a great soul beget a son like Vena, because of whom he abandoned his kingdom? I am so surprised at the great sages, who were all fully conversant with religious principles, punished Vena. After all, normally it is the king who punishes others. Citizens should never come. 1 second. Citizens should never insult the king, even if he appears sometimes to be sinful. Indeed, he's supposed to be the Lord's representative above all other rulers. Great sage, you are well acquainted with all subjects, both past and future. Since I am your faithful follower, please describe King Vena's history. Smiling, Maitreya began to speak.
Thank you, Tarani Radha. I missed you and so happy to see you being on this yatra. Please do pray for us.
Oh yes, thanks for all of your matters. And thank you so much. I felt so happy to be able to be part of the
Yes.
Bhagavad reading.
So sweet. And we started also Vishnu Sahasranam. We're going to study Vishnu Sahasranam.
Yeah, at 6 o'clock, right? 6 a.m.
Okay, so thank you. And one comment here about Anga and how Anga could have a son like Vena. We have seen that in the examples also of, say, for example, Bhaktivinoda Thakur's children or Srila Prabhupada's children. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. I'm getting an encyclopedia check here. 1 second. Yes. Anga. Anga was married to the daughter of death personified. So Srila Prabhupada says that generally the son takes the quality of the mother and the daughter takes the quality of the father. So he took the quality of the mother Veena. So he was the grandchild of the death personified. So no wonder Veena had certain qualities that was tough to handle. Thank you. Thank you. My husband just walked in and gave that answer. Yeah. I just said he just entered and he heard me speaking about Anga and then he just gave this tip and left. Okay, and then I was mentioning the other point also that we have seen in many examples of one parent being really pure devotee or both parents being really pure devotees and very nice devotees, but then the children may not be the following the qualities of the parents. So there's no guarantee. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur had to do so much austerity and prayers and so much meditation to have Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur as his son. And in Srila Prabhupada's case also, we saw that like one son wanted to just steal ISKCON. He just put a case against, after Prabhupada left, he wanted to just take away ISKCON. He said, well, ISKCON is just a business because my father was a businessman and he wanted to just steal the whole ISKCON. And then, of course, ISKCON won the case against Prabhupada's son. And the other son was very simple, he could not see him like as a next Diksha Guru or something like this. So it's not, our lineage is not based on seminal lineage. In fact, we see in 7th Canto, Srila Prahlad Maharaj, he doesn't even accept Shukracharya's sons as the spiritual masters. When Hiranyakashipu asks him, what did you learn from your spiritual master? He says what he learned from Narada. So seminal line is not so important. It doesn't mean that we have to discard any seminal connections. There may be some devotees who may be born in as a Diksha Guru's child and may become Diksha Gurus, but it's not like never. But the prominence is, like Prahlad Maharaj says, is on the parampara, not on the blood lineage. Okay, so those are some points. We will stop here for today. And Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Now we will